The 6-demon bag.
Terrific. A 6-demon bag. Sensational. What's in it, Egg?
Wind, fire, all that kind of thing.
Here's to the Army and Navy and the battles they have won. Here's to America's colors, the colors that never run.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Ah.
Welcome back to Birdies, Bogeys, Bushwood. I am Magnum and I'm flying solo this week to break down the 2026 edition of the RBC Canadian Open. Should be a fun one, traveling north of the border, and we appreciate you traveling with us here for another episode of Birdies, Bogeys, Bushwood. The show is presented by Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. You can find our podcast wherever you get your pods. Apple Podcast, Spotify, all the good ones. We are there. Find our videos on YouTube. Find us on social media at Seize the Gap FF and on the web at seizethegapff.com. Try to keep it very easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had the fun, please click the thumb. You should also know that we are not affiliated with Draftkings or the Draftkings Sportsbook. We are getting our odds and wagers from the DK Sportsbook. Everything is accurate as of June 9th, 2026. Before we get into the Canadian Open, let's briefly talk about what went down last week at Jack's Place for the Memorial. Congratulations to JT Poston, who defeated Ryan Gerard in a 2-hole playoff. Poston was your 54-hole leader. Looked like he was not necessarily going to sail easily to victory, but he had a little bit of a comfortable lead and just couldn't get it going on Sunday. Eventually had to birdie the final hole, the 72nd hole, to force the playoff. They ran it back, played 18 a couple more times. He carded a couple of pars. That was enough to get the job done. So shout out to JT Poston. Ryan Gerard has had some high points this season and some low points. Another high one for him. Definitely more of a Bob A. boom or bust golfer, but he was definitely booming last week at Jack's Place. I think Jack's Place played about how we thought it would. The early wave on Thursday went pretty low, so there was a little bit of thought, okay, maybe they're going to go lower here than we thought, but the scoring eventually equalized, so wound up being right about in the range we thought it would be. Wyndham Clark continued his strong play. He finished third, just couldn't overcome a 75 he shot on Friday. Tommy Fleetwood and Sam Burns finished tied for fourth. Burns had a real chance until he just basically blew it on the 71st hole. Tried to make a run on 18. He couldn't chip it in, but shout out Sam Burns. Been playing very well. Definitely has one of the better course histories going on at Jack's Place. Alex Fitzpatrick and Christopher Rayton both continued their strong play, finishing tied for sixth, as did Eric Cole, who finished a solo eighth. As far as other notable names, everyone was loving Scheffler coming in, including myself. He finished tied for 12th at 4 under, along with Rory and JJ Spawn. Patrick Cantlay was another one of your course horses here. He finished tied for 17th at 3 under. Russell Henley and Shane Lowry both finished tied for 22nd, 1 under. Lowry's kind of trending in the right direction now, while it was a little bit of a come down for Henley coming off of a victory a couple of weeks ago. Xander Schauffele tied for 29th at 1 over. Matt Fitzpatrick's been golfing a little bit lately. He finished tied for 36 at 2 over. Ludwig Oberg was a solo 39th at 3 over. Hideki Matsuyama finished tied for 43rd at 7 over. And Cam Young, very disappointing here, tied for 46 at 8 over. The cut wound up being 5 over par. Notable names to miss the cut include Jordan Spieth. Shot a 71 on Thursday, looked pretty good. Followed that up with a 79 on Friday. At 7 over, you had Bobby McIntyre, Robert McIntyre, and Ben Griffin. Nikolai Hogard and Minwoo Lee were both 8 over. Akshay Bhatia was 9 over. Alex Smalley, one of the hottest golfers on tour, 15 over par. I think he did not break 80 on Thursday. And then Ricky Fowler, 17 over par. He did not break 80 on Friday. So very interesting. Another good rendition of the Memorial at Jack's Place. Looking forward to doing it again next year. It is time to cross the border for the 2026 edition of the RBC Canadian Open. Going to kick things off with the tale of the tape. We are competing at TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. This is on the North Course in Caledon Village, Ontario. This is a par 70 track playing 7,389 yards, originally designed by Doug Carrick with a pretty heavy recent renovation by Ian Andrew. We have 146 golfers in the field. After 36 holes, we'll cut down to the top 65 plus ties. There is a $9.8 million prize purse. The winner's taking home a little bit under $1.8 million and 500 FedEx Cup points for the victory. The 2025 champion was Ryan Fox at 18 under par. Without Jamie G in the mix, it falls to me to give our weather report for the RBC Canadian Open.
I was hoping to squeeze in 9 holes before this rain starts.
Certainly, Your Eminency.
Before we get into the forecast, I want to remind you, always check for the latest, most up-to-date possible forecast before finalizing your lineups and wagers. Might be a little bit of a wet one this week, but I think I'm more concerned about the wind overall. Going to have a cloudy Thursday, 25% chance of a stray shower. Nothing crazy. Projected high of 82 degrees. Keep an eye on the wind here, projected to be in the 10 to 20 mile per hour range. Chances of showers kick up a little bit on Friday to 40%, with the precipitation most likely falling in the morning, but the clouds will hang around throughout the day. We're looking at a high of 75 degrees with wind still in that 10 to 20 mile per hour range. Things look like they'll clear up a little bit on Saturday. Still have a 20% chance of rain, but not terribly worried about it. The high is 78 degrees with the wind staying once again in that 10 to 20 mile per hour range. And then finally on Sunday, we are looking at a cloudy day, 50% chance of showers. The projected high is down to 67 miles per hour. The projected high is down to 67 degrees. Winds might drop down a touch into the 10 to 15 mile per hour range, but certainly something we're still going to want to keep an eye on. Overall, looks like a decent enough week for golf. I do think this is a course that's going to play like a bit of a birdie fest. Getting some additional precipitation leading up to the event and during the event could make it even more favorable scoring conditions. Something to keep an eye on. Certainly a lot of wind in the forecast. As of now, I'm not seeing one particular tee time wave that has an edge on Thursday or Friday, but it is most definitely something you're going to want to keep an eye on. As far as overall thoughts on the course, TPC Toronto, the North Course here, I am expecting a birdie fest. We played here last year, and we had 12 golfers who shot 14 under par or better. Again, Ryan Fox took it down at 18 under. I would once again expect a winning score in that range, call it somewhere between 16 under and 20 under par. So maybe not the biggest birdie fest you've ever seen, but I think it certainly qualifies as easy scoring conditions. You only have 2 par 5s here on the par 70 track. They are both gettable and somewhat uniquely. They are situated at the beginning and the end. You have par 5s on the first hole and the 18th hole. That is definitely going to give you an advantage on Draftkings. If you are going to play golfers who start on the 10th hole, they have a much better chance of stringing together 3 straight birdies to get you the bonus there, because they will play 18 and then make the turn and play 1. So that's certainly something you're going to want to keep an eye on a little bit if you are playing showdown contests this week, especially on Thursday and Friday when they are using the shotgun format. Not as big of a factor on the weekend. It's a pretty simple birdie fest here. I'm looking for elite ball strikers, ideally with a little bit of extra length off the tee. Kind of a unique green situation. This is a blend of bent POA, not something we see a ton of. It's kind of tough to really isolate the putting metrics here. It does look like the greens play fairly easily. They're not particularly fast, but they are very big greens. So if you are far away, the putting, I believe, like from the 15 to 25 foot range is a little bit rougher, and not something I'm really going to take into heavy consideration this week. I am pretty much just looking for golfers, again, elite ball strikers who are long. They rack up birdie opportunities and they perform well in these situations where they're playing courses with fairly easily scoring conditions. Not really a lot of course history to lean onto with only the 1 year. I will certainly give guys credit if they played well here last year, but for the most part, I'm going to be leaning more on their performance on similar courses and their recent form more than their history here. There's been a lot of talk about the PGA Tour schedule, and I'd call this a sandwich event. It's stuck right between a signature event and a major. Somewhat surprisingly, the field here is a little bit better than I thought it would be. Certainly better than some of the prior renditions of the Canadian Open used to be. but it is going to impact the way we approach our wagers and our DFS plays this week because you do have a bigger field. It is somewhat top heavy for sure. I think it's going to be tough to find value this week, and that's kind of what I'm getting into here. I'm mostly looking for ceiling. I think there are good arguments to be made for most of the most expensive golfers on DraftKings, the biggest favorites this week. There are some mid-range options I like, mostly younger guys who are in excellent form, guys who seem to be trending in the right direction. I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough week to find value on DraftKings. I don't know if I'm going to bet a ton of long shots to win here. I certainly think you could sprinkle some mid-range plays in. I think you're going to find a couple of guys that spike some random top 10s, top 20s. It's always kind of tempting to go with some of the Canadians here. I know that's been a little bit of a narrative, especially after Nick Taylor won. But for the most part, it's probably going to be a bit of a putting contest because that's the nature of a birdie fest. So this is probably a spot where over on DraftKings and in DFS in general, I am probably going to shift a lot of my volume into large tournament plays, into showdown contests, and not really focus that much on cash games this week. I just don't know if I can build the kind of lineup I'm going to feel comfortable playing a lot of volume in that format. So it's not like I'm going to completely avoid cash games this week, but for the most part, I'm going to crank my tournament mix, especially my multi-entry GPP mix way up this week from where it usually is. I am probably going to try to narrow down my player pool up top to just a couple of expensive golfers, and then try to really kind of widen my range when it comes down to some of the value plays. Like I said, I think especially once you get below that kind of high 7K range on DraftKings, I think it's going to get a little bit ugly this week. So I would just as soon try to hope I can nail the couple of favorite plays I have up top, and then get a little bit lucky by sprinkling in some of the cheaper value plays that we can find this week. As far as the top 10 in my model this week, starting at number 10, we have Doug Gim. He's the cheapest player in the top 10, only 7,500 over on DK. At number 9, we have our guy Shane Lowry. He's only 9K flat. At number 8, we have Aaron Rye. He has obviously taken a leap this year. He's only 8,300. I think he's a bit underpriced this week. At number 7, another champion this year, Wyndham Clark, 9,700. Keeping the trend going, another guy who's already won big this year, Justin Rose. He's 9,300 over on DraftKings. Breaking into the top 5 at number 5, we have Colin Morikawa. He's 9,900 over on DraftKings. He is in the field. Does not look like he will withdraw, but he has been struggling with a back injury. So I would certainly approach him with a little bit of caution. I want to see him play 4 rounds, come out of it healthy before I back him too much. I'll have a sprinkle in tournaments, but for the most part, I'm going to approach him with caution. At number 4, we have Tommy Fleetwood, 10,300. Second most expensive golfer this week, but he looks very good here. At number 3, one of the hotter golfers on tour right now, Eric Cole. He is 8K flat. At number 2, Matt Fitzpatrick, trending a bit in the wrong direction, 10,500, the most expensive golfer in the field this week, but he certainly could do some damage here. And finally, at number 1, Mr. Burns, Sam Burns, $10,100, about as expensive as I can remember him being, but given the way he played last year and given his recent form, the price tag is probably fair. Here on Birdies, Bogeys, Bushwood, we are down with the king. So it is time to get into my DraftKings recommendations for the week. Just going to start up top with my favorite, most expensive options. I think you can make an argument for most of the golfers priced at 9K or above this week, but my favorites are Tommy Fleetwood at 10,300. He came in 4th in the model. Sam Burns at 10,100 came in 1st in the model. Brooks Koepka, 9,500, came in 30th in the model. Nikolai Hogard, 9,100, came in 14th in the model. And our guy, Shane Lowry, 9K flat, came in 9th in the model. I don't think you need to talk too much about Fleetwood or Burns. Both are very good fits here. The recent form is solid. Fleetwood struggled for a minute, but for the most part, I understand exactly why they are priced the way they are. I will probably have roughly equal exposure to them. I would expect at least one of those two to be in, call it at least a third of my lineups, maybe up to 40%. Koepka is interesting. It comes down to his putter a little bit. The irons have been there. He's 7th in strokes gained approach over the last 24, 3 top 15 finishes over his last 4 events, and he's been at his best on long, easy courses. If he can't get the putter working, though, it could be problematic here. So I think it makes him an excellent tournament option. I will probably be ultimately right around where the field is, probably 17 to 20% roughly, somewhere around there in terms of ownership on Brooks Koepka. Nikolai Hogard is a ball striking demon, and he's 6th in driving distance, so he's got some length here. Very solid playing on par fours as well. Came in 8th in strokes gained on the comp courses, so I can kind of forgive him missing the cut last year. He did also miss the cut last week, so I'm hoping that drives down his ownership percentage. He has played phenomenal this season. He's finished 6th or better 5 times. I'm on the record as saying he is going to pick up his first victory this year, so I'm still standing on that. I think this would be a good spot for it. And as far as Shane Lowry, you have to kind of just lean on the ball striking here. It kind of surprised me, but he has been very, very good. In fact, at his best on some of these easier courses. I know the putter can be problematic, but he came tied for 13th here last year. He's 12th in strokes gained on the comp courses, thrives in a birdie fest, and honestly, I don't think he's going to pick up that much ownership. So I think Shane Lowry's an excellent tournament play this week. This is the most I have liked the 8K range outside of a signature event or a major in a long time. Up top, you have Alex Noren at 8,900. He came in 15th in the model. Another dude who missed the cut here last year, but everything seems to be trending in the right direction in his game. Seems like it'd be a great fit. Coming off a tie for 9th finish last week. He's 9th in strokes gain approach over the last 24, 4th in strokes gain approach. 4th in strokes gained on par fours over the last 50 rounds. Again, 2 things we're trying to lean on here. Doesn't really have the distance we're looking for off the tee, but he's a great putter. Again, that the approach game is coming around. He's not going to pick up that much ownership at this price. So really love Noren as a tournament play. And then you just basically have the hot boys. Christopher Rayton is 8,800, 31st in the model. Alex Fitzpatrick is 8,700, came in 100th in the model. Again, sample size issues are why they are falling where they are in the model. Aaron Rice, 8,300, came in 8th in the model. And Eric Cole, 8K flat, came in 3rd in the model. I like all these guys. They're all going to have a lot of ownership. I am probably going to try to limit myself to 2 of these guys in any given tournament lineup. If you are playing single entry or cash games, you could maybe play 3 or even 4 of these guys. Their games fit well here. The form is outstanding. I love all of them. And then you kind of have the guy when it comes to the Canadian Open, Nick Taylor. He is 8K flat, came in 42nd in the model. Former champion here. The form is decent. He's finished 43rd, 26th, 14th, and 9th over the last 4 events. Finished 13th here last year. Again, former champion of the Canadian Open, I believe in 2024 over Tommy Fleetwood, although on a different course. Not long off the tee, but extremely accurate. Has some upside with his irons. Very good on or around the greens. Not a guy who is going to make my cash game lineup. Probably not even my single entry tournament lineup, but I really like mixing him in to those larger tournament fields, even if he is going to be a little bit higher owned than he probably should be because of the whole former champion Canadian angle. In the 7K range this week, we basically just have a bunch of my favorite guys and a couple of guys I think are going to play pretty well this week. You have Mac Meisner at 7,900, came in 23rd in the model. Bud Cauley, 7,800, came in 36th in the model. I love both of those guys. Pretty similar profile, very good ball strikers, can get it going around the greens when it behooves them. Both are very good, best suited for easier scoring conditions in birdie fest type of situations. So I really like both of those guys this week. I think given where they are priced, they're not going to pick up too much ownership. Davis Thompson is 7,700, came in 17th in the model. He has been a Bob this season, a boom or bust option, but he is 26th in strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds, 19th in strokes gained par fours over the last 50, and 20th in proximity from 100 to 150 yards. You're going to have a lot of shots in that range this week. Also 16th in strokes gained on the comp courses. So generally not a guy I love, certainly not a guy you want to buy into in a putting contest scenario for the most part, but I think he has real upside here. And then we have another Canadian, one of my guys, a young gun, Sudashan Yelamaraju, 7,600, only came in 55th in the model. Seemed to kind of run out of gas recently, but I like the game. I think he could be rejuvenated here. So while I probably wouldn't put him in my cash game lineup, maybe not my single entry lineup, I am certainly going to be over the field on him in tournaments. Doug Gim, always one of the guys, 7,500, 10th in the model. Again, kind of like a little bit, I don't want to call a better version, very similar to Meisner and Cauley. Very good ball striker, can get it going when he needs to. Very excellent in the proximity, 102, 150 yards. Also extremely solid in birdie or better percentage, gains a lot of opportunities. And the form is solid, 28th, 31st, 19th, and 6th over his last 4 events. Andrew Putnam, another one of my guys, 7,400, came in 29th in the model. Approach game has been solid, 15th in strokes gained approach last 24, 25th in strokes gained on the par 4s over the last 50, and he's 15th in strokes gained putting on this Bet Poa blend. Not a huge sample size, but that is a nice attribute to have here. And he's 10th in strokes gained on the comp courses. So really, really like Putnam this week. Solid combination of course history. He finished tied for 6th here last year, and recent form finished 17th, 55th, 37th, and 18th over his last 4. So 2 top 20s in there. And then you have Zach Bachow. He is the rookie, very young kid, 7,300, came in 32nd in the model. Pretty much just leaning on the recent form here over his last 4 events. He's finished 22nd, 6th, 24th, and 13th. The approach game is pretty good. Not really surprising with a younger cat like that. 22nd in strokes gained approach over the last 24. Also solid in strokes gained on par 4s and on the comp courses here. So going back to the well a little bit, he's been doing okay for the last couple of weeks. So I am willing to go back there. I've already mentioned that dumpster diving could be tough this week. It's very, very difficult to find value, but luckily for us, we have a guy who specializes in those dumpster dives.
Take it from me. I am a doctor. Dr. Toboggan. Mantis Toboggan.
Shout out to Dr. Mantis Toboggan. He's got a few names on the prescription pad for us this week, starting with Jackson Suber at 7K flat, came in 12th in the model. Very good ball striker, 12th in strokes gained approach over the last 24. Very solid guy in gaining birdie or better opportunities. And he's also very good on this Bet Poa blend as far as putting. So seems like it really could come together for him this week. Austin Eckroat, also 7K flat, came in 11th in the model. Again, not really a surprise here. He's another guy who hits his irons very well. Does well in these easier scoring conditions. Very good in birdie or better. The form is good. 67th, 40th, 19th, over his last 4 events. Another Canuck, AJ Ewart, is 6,900, came in 79th in the model, but he is a guy who's passed the eye test for me. I have multiple times this year looked up and seen him rising up the leaderboard, playing pretty well. He can certainly make mistakes at times, but he has the kind of ceiling I'm looking for here. Came in 16th in strokes gained on the comp courses. Definitely been a bit of a bob, but he has been more boom than bust recently. 17th, 19th, missed the cut, and 20th over his last 4. So that's 3 top 20s in his last 4 events. Missed the cut here last year, but I can kind of live with that. Then we have Sam Ryder, 6,800, came in 21st in the model. I've tried to lean on him a couple of times this season. Definitely a guy who's at his best in a birdie fest. 16th in strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds. 14th in birdie or better percentage. Missed the cut here last year and been again a bob over his last few events. Missed the cut 31st, 17th, and missed the cut over his last 4. And then finally, the last name on the pad here for the doc, Mark Hubbard, 6,700, came in 22nd in the model. You know why he's on here. He's first in strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds. Also another guy who has shown some proclivity to putt well on these Bet Poa blend greens, so we like that. Finished tied for 47th here last year. Nothing crazy, but it's better than missing the cut. And again, another guy who has been a bob recently. Missed the cut, finished 60th, 31st, 2nd, and missed the cut over his last 5. So shout out to Dr. Toboggan. Those are the names on the prescription pad this week. He's got 5 on it. Jackson Suber, Austin Eckroat, AJ Ewart, Sam Ryder, and Mark Hubbard. When it comes to action, golf is surprisingly one of the best sports. It's very easy to get some action in when you're out on the course, and it's also very easy to get some action in on the professional golf, whether you're sitting on your couch or you're on the bar stool at the 19th hole. It's time for another edition of Bet It, Bank It, Blow It. Please remember, we are not affiliated with the Draftkings Sportsbook, but that's where we're getting our odds and wagers from. Everything is accurate as of June 9th, 2026. Here on Bet It, Bank It, Blow It, and Birdies, Bogeys, Bushwood, our preferred currency is the cricket coin. In cricket, we trust, so all of our wagers are in the form of cricket coins. First up, we like to go with our position propositions. This is generally a blend of finishing position wagers. Not a banner week. I eked out a tiny profit of 1 cricket coin. I went 1 for 3. I hit on Sam Burns finishing in the top 20, missed on Ben Griffin finishing in the top 5. He missed the cut, and Matthew Fitzpatrick finishing in the top 10. He finished tied for 36. Still beat out Jamie G. He went 0 for 3, booked a loss of 225 coins, missed on Cam Young, top 5. Ludwig Goldberg top 10, and Matt Fitzpatrick top 20. So as a duo, we booked a loss of 224 coins. For the season, I'm still in the red here, down about 621 coins. Jamie G still in the green, up about 633, putting us up about 312 overall. This week, I have the only offerings here. We're expanding the menu a little bit, so we're going 25 coins on a winner wager, 50 coins on a top 5, 75 coins on a top 10, and 100 cricket coins on a top 20 wager. The top 5, 10, and 20 wagers are all including ties. For my winner wager, I'm going with the guy. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I said he's going to win a tournament this year. Give me 25 cricket coins on Nikolai Hogard to be the winner, plus 3,000, 25 coins to bring back 775. Next up, I'm just saying Mr. Burns is going to keep it going and repeat his success from last year here. I have 50 coins on Sam Burns to finish in the top 5 plus ties. That's plus 270, so 50 coins to bring back 185. Next up, for my top 10, I'm going to eat the chalk here with Tommy Fleetwood. 75 coins on Tommy Fleetwood to finish in the top 10 plus ties. 75 coins to bring back about 198 cricket coins. And then finally, for my top 20 wager, I'm going to put my 100 cricket coins on one of the hottest golfers on tour, Christopher Rayton, top 20 plus ties. That's plus 120, 100 cricket coins to bring back 220. He has hit this, I believe, in 4 of his last 5 events. Just looking for the good times to keep rolling here. Next up, we have our matchup wagers. These can be anything from a head-to-head, tournament trio, 3-ball, tournament group, nationality, regional wager, all sorts of options here, but generally you're looking at a group somewhere between 2 to 6 golfers. Last week, I had 2 offerings and hit them both. Both were group wagers available on Draftkings. I hit the group with Sam Burns. That was an easy one. Literally, I think almost everybody else missed the cut. And then I had one that went down to a dead heat reduction. I had JJ Spawn. He tied with Justin Rose. Overall, turned a profit of about 423 coins. For the season, I've had the only offerings here. I'm up about 112 coins. Once again, have a tournament group offering to give you. Over on DraftKings, this is Group C. We have 5 golfers. Pick the one who does best. If there is a tie, dead heat rules apply. The options are Christopher Rayton at plus 270, Victor Hovland at plus 300, Michael Thorbjornsen at plus 350, Alex Noren at plus 350 as well, and Keith Mitchell at plus 380. No real surprise here. I'm going with Rayton. He's been playing extremely well. I think he is at least underpriced in DFS. I think his price in the betting market is fair. I certainly am worried about Noren and Thorbjornsen and even Hovland a little bit. You know, I'm sure Keith Mitchell, he's good in a birdie fest. Don't know if I trust the putter here, but I know the plus 270 is a little short, but I didn't have a ton of options on the menu going with Ray 10 here in the tournament group. Then we have a tournament head-to-head. You have Robert McIntyre versus Christopher Rayton. Robert McIntyre is minus 122. Rayton's minus 108. No real surprise going with Rayton. So 100 cricket coins to bring back about 193. Running back the same kind of matchup, a tournament head-to-head. You have Harry Hall versus Eric Cole. Harry Hall is a slight favorite at minus 118. Eric Cole is minus 112. I actually like Harry Hall here, another guy who profiles well in a birdie fest. His short game putter will certainly play here, but I love the form that Eric Cole is in. I'm putting my 100 cricket coins on him at minus 112, so 100 coins would bring back about 189. And then finally, we're going to finish it up with a round 1 tournament trio. This is round 1 only. Once again, dead heat rules apply. For round one, you have Bud Cauley at plus 142, Max Grazerman at plus 192, and Denny McCarthy at plus 205. I love Bud Cauley here. 100 coins at plus 142 to bring back 242. He has been one of my favorite guys to play in round one wagers, in round one showdown contest, and on Sunday showdown contest. So I tentatively dip my toes in the water for tournament long DFS, but I love focusing on Bud Cauley in single round. So I love it here, even though I'm getting the shortest number at the plus 142. If you're looking to make a little bit more money faster, I think you want to attend the Parlay Partay. It's a hell of a time. You can make a lot of money, but you need a parlay to get into the door. Last week, Jamie G and I both had offerings, and we both missed them all. I went 0 for 3. I missed a mixed finishing position parlay. I had Scheffler top 5, Patrick Cantlay, and Ben Griffin to both finish in the top 20. Only hit on Cantlay. Then I had a 4-leg top 20 parlay. Matt Fitzpatrick, Siwoo Kim, JJ Spawn, Sam Burns. Only missed on Fitzpatrick, finishing tied for 37th. And then I had a 2-leg top 20 parlay. Nick Taylor, Gary Woodland finished tied for 43rd and 36th respectively. Jamie G also had a mixed finishing position parlay. He had Scotty Scheffler top 10. Patrick Cantlay, Corey Connors will both finish in the top 20. He also only hit on Cantlay. So as a duo, we booked a loss of 400 coins. For the season at the Parlay Partay, I'm down 545 coins. Jamie G is down 600, putting us down 1,145 overall. Sounds like a lot, but just one good partay can put us right back in the green. This week, I have 2 offerings. Both will be top 20 parlays. These will be including ties. First up, I have a 3-leg top 20 parlay. We have leg number 1, Sam Burns at minus 140, Christopher Rayton at plus 120, and Aaron Rye at plus 150. So again, all of these are including ties, Burns, Rayton, and Rye. Parlay them together, your odds are plus 850, so 100 cricket coins to bring back 950 cricket coins. Next up, I'm going to go with a 2-leg top 20 parlay. I know Rayton's been hot, but these 2 golfers have been almost just as hot. So we're just going with little hot boys 2-legger here. We have Alex Fitzpatrick plus 160 top 20 plus ties, and Eric Cole plus 178 top 20 plus ties. Parlay those 2 together. Your odds are plus 625. So 100 cricket coins to bring back 725. One of these won't get us back in the green, but both of them will, and God's willing, it's going to be a hell of a week at the Parlay Partay. It's time to get into the one and done discussion, starting with my one and done recommendations for the RBC Canadian Open. Not a huge purse here, about 1.8 million going to the winner. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we're running out of majors and signature events, and then you're not going to get to play the full playoffs here. So this is a spot where, especially if you are in the mid-range, you can make up some real ground here. If you are way behind, it is time to start taking some chances. So I'm going to try to give you offerings for small, medium, and large contests, but you can also consider it as close to the top, in the middle of the pack, or far behind, because the strategy will be similar. If you are way far behind at this point, it's time to start taking some real chances, unless hopefully you've been saving some great options, in which case you can burn some higher end options that I might otherwise choose to do here. For those of you who are either near the top of your contest or playing in smaller contests, I think this is a spot. Just go with Mr. Burns. Don't overthink it. Sam Burns plus 1,325 to win the golf tournament. Form is great. Fit is great. Played well here last year. Don't overthink it. For those of you kind of middle of the pack or in medium-sized contests, call it 100 to 500 entries. How about Shane Lowry plus 3,500? I know it's been a minute since he won a solo event on tour, but his game fits really well here. Played well here last year, trending in the right direction. I don't think many people will trust him. So it's a good week to go to Shane Lowry, especially middle of the pack. He's not going to be the chalk. He's not going to be avoided. He will be properly priced, where a few people take a chance on him, and you can live with that. And then finally, if you are in a large contest or you're way in the back, way far behind, doing the candlebox thing, how about go with Christopher Rayton? He's plus 2,600 to win the golf tournament, and I just don't think people are going to believe in him, at least to the degree they should be believing in him at this point. If that's the case, so be it. It's not as easy as you think to kind of predict the ownership percentage in one and done. But I think with enough top options here, there are going to be some people who be like, oh, I want to burn Koepka. I want to burn Fleetwood. I want to burn Fitzpatrick. So I don't think he's going to pick up that much ownership either. So those are my one and done recommendations for you this week. Sam Burns plus 1325, Shane Lowry plus 3500, and Christopher Rayton plus 2600. The final order of business is for me to give you our one and done contest picks for the RBC Canadian Open. Jamie G had a business event tonight, couldn't get his full picks, but he was able to get me his one and done pick, which is fitting because he is in the lead. He lost a little ground last week. He had Hideki Matsuyama. He finished tied for 43, only brought home 70K. I had Cantlay, finished tied for 17th, brought home 319 grand. So I did gain some ground, but right now Jamie G has about 11.87 million. I have about 9.1 million. So Jamie G is up by about 2.8 million. And he has some of the high chalk here available. He's eating it. No surprise. Jamie G is going with Sam Burns plus 1,325 to win the golf tournament. I hate that. I also had Burns available. Had Jamie G not used him, I would have used him, but I need to gain ground here, so I am going to take my own advice. I'm going to go with Christopher Rayton, plus 2,600 to win. Could also go with Wyndham Clark. Didn't really mention him too much. He is a good fit here. There are some similarities between him and Burns, although Clark's a little bit generally better of a ball striker. That being said, I'm going to stick to my guns here. Jamie G's going Sam Burns. I'm going Christopher Rayton. Hopefully the gods are with me, and hopefully they're with you no matter what you're doing this week, whether you're out on the course, you're playing in your weekly league, or if you're just putting a couple of bucks down on DraftKings or on a couple of wagers. Whatever you're doing, hopefully it will go well for you, and hopefully this episode of Birdies, Bogeys, Bushwood went well for you as well. Really hope you enjoyed it. Once again, we are presented by Seeds to Get Fantasy Football. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the good ones. We are there. Find our videos on YouTube. Find us on social media at Seeds to Gap FF, on the web at seedstogapff.com. Try to keep it very simple, very easy to remember, just like those flaps. FLAPS, very crucial to our success. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please hit the thumb. I'm Magnum Mills on behalf of myself and the absent Jamie G. Good luck this week. We will be back next week for the U.S. Open. Looking forward to it, so we'll see you then. Or maybe in the meantime, you can catch us in the 19th hole.